Welcome back. Today's topic which we are going to cover is the S3 Directory Bucket. In this video we are going to cover what is the Directory Bucket, what are the advantages of using the Directory Bucket. We are also going to understand the disadvantage of it, and in the last we are going to do a demo where we are going to understand how we can create S3 Directory Bucket step by step. Little bit about the S3 Directory Bucket. It's built on the concept of S3 Express One Zone. So let me explain this thing with an example. If I'm going to talk about the Amazon S3 bucket, the journal bucket, whenever we are going to create this bucket, it is as per the region wise. Okay, let me have this thing. Okay, we have the region, and in a particular region we are going to create the S3 bucket. This is a general purpose bucket. Now when we talk about the S3 Directory Bucket, it's built on the concept of the S3 Express One Zone. In the region we have the availability zone, so let's suppose this is the region. Here we have multiple availability zones, and this type of bucket, okay, let me copy this one, is created within availability zone, within a single availability zone. So the general purpose bucket create within a region, and in the region we have multiple availability zone. This S3 Directory Bucket is going to create in a single availability zone, and that is why it is built on the concept of the S3 Express One Zone. It provides low latency and also provide the high performance. Let me have a user. Okay, let's suppose this is my user who is close to a availability zone. Now if this user is going to access that bucket, so the access is going to be faster, rather than this user is going to have the data from the S3 bucket which is in multiple availability zone. It is also going to provide the high performance, and the reason is very simple. Why it is going to provide the high performance? Because it is going to be on the nearby location to the user. Now this directory bucket is best suited for the application like the SaaS based application, data analytic kind of application, machine learning. It is best suitable for these kind of applications. Let's look at some of the advantages of using the S3 Directory Bucket. The first advantage is it provides low latency and it provides single digit millisecond put and get operation. So as the user is going to be on the nearby location, so put and get operations are very fast when we compare it with the journal bucket. It is perfect for the speed critical workload. It supports folder like structure. So when we talk about the journal bucket, here we don't have the folder type of structure. Here we have a flat structure, and also the data management is much easier. Also when we compare it with the journal bucket, the costing is on the lower side. The reason is very simple. So this is one of the availability zone. Okay, let me have the availability zone from here. Control C V. Let me okay. So let's suppose in the journal bucket we have 3 availability zone. Okay. Now in this, whenever the user is going to put the data into this, let me remove this thing. Okay. Okay, whenever the user is going to put data, data is going to replicate between the 3 availability zone, and when the data is going to replicate between the 3 availability zone, the costing is on the higher side. But there are a lot of disadvantages using the S3 Directory Bucket as well. So S3 Directory Bucket is only for the specific use case, like if we have the SaaS based application, if we need to access the data faster, we need to do a data analytic, So for all those kind of scenarios, the S3 directory bucket is good, but there are a lot of disadvantages using the S3 bucket. So if we talk about the regular bucket or the general purpose bucket, here we have the data which is replicating between the three availability zone. So if one of the availability zone is down, so let's suppose this one is down, we can still work with the other availability zone. When we talk about the directory bucket, here if one of the availability zone is down, we are not able to access the data. So this is one of the biggest disadvantage of using the directory bucket. In the general purpose bucket, we are getting the features like the versioning, which is very important. So in the layman term, the versioning means when we are updating our file and we need to maintain the versions of it. So let's suppose today I have a file, tomorrow I'm going to do some changes. Now I want to revert to the previous changes. I can easily do that because I have the versions of it. Here in the directory bucket, it does not support the versioning. Also in the general purpose bucket, we have multiple storage classes. Like we have the glacier where we can reduce the cost, where we can save our data for a longer period of time. We will not get the S3 storage classes in the directory bucket. Also other management features like the cross region replication is not supported, and we know the reason why it is not supported, because this one is not a region based service. This is a local availability zone kind of service. So we are going to store the data in the local availability zone, not in the region. But when we talk about the general purpose bucket, we have the region wise. So we can easily replicate the data from one region to another region. But here we don't have that option. Even we will not get the features like the life cycle management of the data. So let's suppose after 30 days I want my data to move to a different storage class. I will not get this kind of facility here. Okay, so again the directory bucket is only for the specific purpose. Not for all the purpose we are going to create the directory bucket. Let's go and see how we can create the directory bucket. So for that, I'm into my AWS console. Here, once I go to the Amazon S3, I have the option for the general purpose bucket and the directory bucket. So once I'm going to click on the directory bucket, it is going to follow a naming standard. So suffix is going to be there. Let me show you what I'm saying at the moment. Once I'm going to click on the bucket, choose, let's suppose I'm going to choose this one. You can see there is a suffix which I cannot remove. So whatever the bucket name I'm going to give, it is going to follow the same naming structure, like it is going to be unique. It is going to be between 3 to 63 character. It is not going to use dot, all those kind of things. So let me give a name like 09678. So if you see the bucket name, it is going to include this suffix. So we cannot remove this suffix. And this is how we can identify the directory bucket as well. See, we don't have much options, like we don't have the object lock option here. If we are going to create the general purpose bucket, we will get the object lock option here. We do have the encryption, we do have the ACL in place, but we don't have the other features like the versioning, lifecycle policy, object lock, these kind of features. So let me create a bucket. Okay, I need to acknowledge this. It is telling me directory bucket store data across multiple devices within a single availability zone. So it is going to store the data on the multiple devices, but again it is going to be in a single availability zone. So if that availability zone is down, I'm not able to use my directory bucket. So let me create the bucket. So my bucket is created, and if you see there is a suffix which I cannot remove. Bucket location, it is showing me the availability zone, and here the bucket location name, it is showing me it is in North Virginia, and it is also telling me this is in this availability zone. Let me open this thing, and here if I go to the permission, we have the bucket policy here, but if you look at, we don't have the other options here. Even in the property, if I go, I have very few options, like the static website option is not here. Bucket management lifecycle policies, all options are missing here. So this is how we can create the directory bucket.